Warum habe ich denn jetzt schon gestartet? Bin ich doof?
Bin ich dämlich? Wahrscheinlich schon. Hello.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day, every month, of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh, ich kann mich bewegen. Ei.
Wow! Njong. Steht da irgendwas? Ja? Hm?
Kann ich hier drunter?
Nee. Kann ich boxen? Ah. Mama, bist du da? Ich will hier raus. Oh, das dauert ja lange, ehe das sich dreht hier. Einstellungen, Steuerung. So. Gut. Ist immer noch langsam.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Mr. Memo? Hallo.
No matter how hard
Andrea?
Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Hallo, Mama.
Oh. Hier müsste ja mal aufgeräumt werden hier. Oh, geh aus. Geh aus. Ah, ich hasse Büroräume. Geh aus. Ordnung muss sein.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Ruhe, scheiß Erzähler. Hier geht's lang. Nee. Mhm. Oh, das ist ein schönes Bild.
Nein.
L. EL. Lieber Frauen Kinder schießen als ein Tropfen Kaffee vergießen. Ich hoffe, das ist Kaffee.
Könnte auch der Stuhl vom Vortag sein.
Ey, Ede!
Hallo?
Was geht? Eigentlich vieles. Mir geht's gut. Wie geht's dir? Wie geht's Ede?
What's up?
Meine Nase juckt.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Wollen wir links oder wollen wir doch vielleicht rechts? Links oder rechts? Oh, Andrea, du darfst eine Kacke gehen. Was steht denn hier? Oversight-Komitee. Schreib nach, Kleiner. Dann tue ich dich jetzt Teebeuteln. Rechts. Einfach nach rechts. Ne, ich hab das gerade
This was
angefangen.
not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Revolution! Ja, jetzt zur Zeit. Also ich spiele das Spiel zum ersten Mal. Und ja, zur Zeit macht's Spaß. Ich habe gehört, dass du dem Sprecher da irgendwie nie horchen kannst, gehorchen kannst und dann schaltest du einige Enden frei.
Keep dry. Okay.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Oh, was trinken?
Yes, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth.
Ja, das nenne ich mal eine geile Landschaft.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left.
Okay. Aber denk dran, nie so viel trinken. Gibt's ja Kaffee? Dad.
Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue, but when a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Warum bricht das ab?
Why?
Ich will nicht. Warum willst du nicht? Ja. Ja. Ja, Ede, Fuel. Genau, Sprit tanken. Kann ich mich hier verstecken?
Mich sieht keiner.
Naja, ich hab, keine Ahnung, das ist halt ziemlich viel geben, aber ich hab vor, dass vielleicht, soll halt bloß ein paar Minuten gehen, vielleicht 1-2 Mal durchzurennen. Und danach mache ich noch einen Stream, wo ich Superliminal zock. Ja, das soll auch gut sein.
But
Aber
at
davon...
last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business.
Warum bricht denn das dauernd ab? Die Scheiße. Naja, morgen noch Schule und dann Ferien ist doch gut.
Hallo?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Do not lie. If you are lying right now, stop.
Okay. Ich wette, das ist ein Bombenbausatz. Wahrscheinlich. Kann man hier in dem Spiel sterben? Das wäre lustig. Oh, Schall.
Cargo Lift.
$1000? What?
Off the cargo.
Penalty for jumping off.
Okay.
Ich würde ja gern hier runterhüpfen. Wollen wir es probieren oder wollen wir zum Cargo-Lift? Springen oder fahren?
Do not jump from the cargo lift while it's in motion. Will cause that.
Also kann ich ja doch sterben. Eine Karte. Ja. Spring. Okay. Aber während er fährt.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off. But in his eagerness to prove that he is in control of the story and no one gets to tell him what to do, Stanley leapt from the platform and plunged to his death. Good job, Stanley. Everyone thinks you are very powerful.
Ich hab den Erzähler besiegt.
Hallo Mama, ich bin grad gefallen. Voll doof und so.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter
Yes.
how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Awaiting input. Input received. Ja, nu? Ah, geh aus. Aber du gehst aus. Kann ich nochmal inputten? Nee. Ah. 420, deswegen ist hier eine Pflanze. Ah. Oh ja, mir gehen gern die Lichter aus.
Oh ja.
Jetzt bei der Tür links oder wieder rechts?
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Warum sind die Lampen hier nie an? Hä? Hä? Warum ist das hier dunkel? Naja, ich gehe nochmal rechts.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire.
Hey, Fresse. Ich mache ja schon.
Wow. Yes, this room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Nö.
Ein Baum und etwas Grünes.
Und ein Weg. Immer noch der Bombenbausatz.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
La, 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 boop.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Ich lass mich ja nicht rumkommentieren, du
This is it,
Arschloch.
Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Er hat drauf gewartet. Hm. Lack. Ja, ich kann es immer noch nicht lesen.
Meh.
Hm. Ah. Hm. Aber ist ja dunkel. Ah!
That's her, Stanley. You...
Hallo Mama? Hallo?
Nur ist dunkel.
Jetzt sind wir alle tot.
Wait.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Puh. Arschloch.
Sorry, but you know my story now.
Nö. Boing, 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 boing.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Ja, du bist ganz schön gemein, du Arschloch. Na, ich drück jetzt kein Dreieck. Ding, 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 ding. Was willst du tun, du Arschloch? Oh, was Titten. Wir können doch über alles reden. Hm? Hm? Hm. Jetzt hätte ich fast gesabbert. Kommt da noch was? Ich will kein Dreieck drücken. Ich will raus. Ah. Machen wir einen Herd an. Was ist im Kühlschrank? Bier? Bier wäre gut. Wait. Du hast ja noch nicht mal eine Kaffeemaschine, du Arschloch.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Nö.
But in his mind, in his mind he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Du hast einen ziemlich flachen Arsch, weißt du das? Ich glaube, ich mag dich doch nie. Ah, war ein Scherz. Mich interessieren Ärsche und Titten nie. Ja, du hast eine Glatze. Ich mag Frauen mit langen Haaren. Hm. Hm. Hm.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly.
Ich hab gar keine Jungs. Habe ich schon gesagt, dass mir hier die Kaffeemaschine fehlt? Ist die unterm Tisch? Nee. Ist die da hinten? Huh?
So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold.
Du bist ja die Frau, du kannst Essen kochen. Ja. Ich gucke jetzt weiter auf die Uhr. Oh, ist gerade an. Nee. Ist noch jemand von euch da? Aha. Oder habt ihr mich schon verlassen? Nice. Sehr schön.
As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Ich hab gar keine Kinder. Nee.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Da ist ein bisschen Boden in dem Stuhl. Ich würde sagen, da ist ein bisschen Stuhl auf dem Boden. Weißt du bist eine Sau. Ne? Du bist eine richtige Sau. Kannst du nicht aufs Klo gehen? Ist dir das so wichtig, mich hier einzusperren, du olle Sau? Hä? Ist dir das so wichtig, mich hier einzusperren, nicht mehr rauszulassen, dass du auf den Boden kackst? Wenn ich hier einen Wischmopp finde, dann kannst du hier alles sauber machen und mach gefälligst nochmal die Schubladen zu. Sag mal, was bist denn du für eine Frau? Du hast ja absolut keine Ordnung. Da steht auch noch der Scheißsessel hier. Hä? 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 Und jetzt Knie nieder. Oh ja. Willst du auch nie, oder was? Ja. Warum zur Hölle hab ich dich geheiratet, hä?
But there is no answer.
Wo ist sie?
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets. The more he forgets which life is the real one.
Was steht da? Ich kann's nicht lesen. Ja, ich hasse genauso Montage. Jetzt ist sie weg und hat noch nicht mal ihre Scheiße weggewischt. Ich bin reingetreten. Pfui.
And I'm trying to tell him this. That in this world he can never be anything but an observer. That as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Ja, Montage sind echt kacke. Manche Montage. Ich hasse die Montage, die nach Sonntagen kommen. Die sind die schlimmsten. Okay, dann erscheinen wir zur Arbeit.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I...
Lul.
Ende Nummer 2.
Moin, Alex. Was geht? Ich bin gerade gestorben. Oder so. Ich habe keine Ahnung.
Nochmal.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Willkommen zurück, Andrea. Ja, du kommst morgen nach Hause. Hat mir der Claudia heute erzählt. Nochmal. Zweimal geinputtet. Hier müssen wir noch ausmachen. Bup, bup.
Hui.
Ja. Wir latschen jetzt
When
links.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Freust dich schon? Ja, freust dich schon, morgen nach Heim zu kommen?
Oh, das ist so eine schöne Landschaft. Voll sexy. Ein bisschen verschwommen.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Ey! Wo ist das Kackding? Da oben. Geh aus! Scheiße.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Doch, ich bleib jetzt hier. Du hast mich vor uns gemobbt. Hä? Hä?
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Das kann ich am besten. Däumchen drehen. Vielleicht kommt noch mehr.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Ja.
Standing around doing nothing? Why?
Ja.
Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Ich kann's halt. Oh ja.
Ja,
You
ich hab
realize there's no
Schrankdienst.
choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
Ich mag meinen Schrankdienst. Und mit dem Besen reite ich dann
Maybe
davon.
to you, this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Wie böse der gerade geworden ist. Voll geil.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed in front of your screen. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number of your countless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Voll geil. Ah, ich lieb's. Ich will den Besen jetzt mitnehmen. Kann ich das Ding mitnehmen? Nö. Oh, ich hoffe, es kommt noch was. Scheint nicht mehr zu kommen, ne?
Sneaky Petey.
Second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Oh. Okay, mach's gut, schlaf gut, Alex. Ach, schade. Hallo. To be rich is a crime. To commit crimes, isn't it rich? What a life it would be to have to pick just one. Oh. Extreme Bathrooms! Time! Das sind ziemlich geile Magazine. Die hab ich gestern gelesen. Saß ich eine Stunde auf dem Klo und empfehle ich euch. Oh, volles Rohr. Ich will Hände waschen. Hände abtrocknen? Warum sehe ich mein Spiegelbild nie? Mach mal sauber. Türe zu. So, hier weiß ich noch eins, da konntest du eine gewisse Tür öffnen, indem du den da machst.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Oh. Oh.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
Was war das? Ich habe gehört 183
2845.
4 0. Huh. 2 8 6 9 5.
Forgot, but it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself. And Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Oh well, whoop-de-doo. Ich will hier raus. Oh. Hallo. Oh. Was hat dich getriggert? Hör mal nicht so laut. Ah. Dann muss ich bestimmt hier runter. Ah. Ich feier das.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Oops, nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end. Ja, statt 112 wähle ich die 994.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat.
Alter. Jetzt ist falsch. Oh. Ja. Oh ja, ich bin der Teufel. Warum ist das unschärfer als das? Hä? Bock auf Gianti. Gianti. Ah, kein Bock mehr. Ich schredder nach unten.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Ich finde diesen Erzähler so geil.
Surely this time Stanley will walk forward into the spooky corridor, won't he?
Kann man noch weiter runterfahren? Ich will... Oh. Hm? Naja.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
That's kinda sus.
Wo lang? Jungs und Mädels, wo lang? Im Gehirnkontrollcenter? Oder im SKP? Wir gehen wohin? Hä? Hä? Okay, dann gehen wir SKP.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Nice. Ich mag es zu sterben.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Seien Sie
At this
ruhig.
point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Ja.
Oh, hello.
Putz. So. Jetzt machen wir noch einmal an... Okay, es geht weiter. Lul.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Fritz mich nie! Oh.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated, as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Gar nie! Ach Mann! Kann ich Kisten durch die Gegend kicken? 9514.
Das muss ich mir merken.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Warum bist du Stück erstmal weiblich geworden? Können wir in die Richtung? Nee, hier ist eine Wand. Können wir in die Richtung? Nee, da ist auch noch eine Wand. Ding, 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 ding.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Oh. Aktenschränke. Oh. Bürocomputer. Ey! Kuckuck. Bäh.
Employee Database.
Ah, will sowieso keiner. Ich wollte schon fragen, sind das die Credits? Ja, das sind die Credits. Lul. Knopfgeräusche. Eine Auswahl an Geräuschen, die im gesamten Spiel beim Drücken von Knöpfen verwendet werden. Jedes Geräusch ist eine Mischung aus einem Tastaturanschlag und einem künstlichen Ton.
Okay.
Blablabla. Boop. Boop. Blablabla. Aktenschränke. Das Büro. Gibt's hier einen Schlüssel? Schon wieder Kaffee ausgeschüttet. Verdammte Scheiße hier. Wer ist das? Wer weiß? Ich Sau. Warum komme ich da nie hin? Ja. Das haben wir gesehen. Das haben wir noch nie gesehen. Oh, so schön. Das haben wir gesehen. Das haben wir noch nie gesehen. Ui. Das haben wir gesehen. Das haben wir gesehen. Und das auch. Landschaftsgemälde. Ja.
Man muss alles angucken.
Stanleys Computer. Geh aus. Oh. Bürogrundriss. Gang. Oder, wenn man gerade aus dem Englischunterricht rauskommt, Gang. Die Gang. Ja, kein Bock mehr. Das Büro. Wartungsraum. Eine erste Version des Wartungsraums. Lul. Ja, der Kaffeemörder ist immer noch auf freiem Fuß. Winnie, du musst ihm die Lichter ausknipsen, so geht das nicht weiter.
Okay. Bonsai. Bonsai.
Fun. Ultra Deluxe Ankündigungen.
Bonsai.
Was ist denn hier? That Strong Bad. Hä? Hä? Ah. 15 Sekunden.
Meetingraum.
Ah. So, jetzt wird's langsam langweilig. Von wo komme ich denn? Der Wuck. Jetzt hänge ich hier wo auf ewig fest.
Auf ewig.
Mit Kaffeetasse? Ja, Entwicklung von Stanleys Büro im Laufe der Zeit. Der erste wurde im November 2011, zweite März und das dritte im Februar 2013.
Ich will nach Hause.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Ne, das ist kein Horrorspiel eigentlich. Ich mach mal aus.
Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Turn off your PlayStation. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't
Ich bin bereit für meinen Tod.
Don't let
Bin gestorben.
So. Ich würde sagen, ich schalte jetzt um quasi. Wir beenden das Spiel. Ich muss leider, da ich von der PlayStation aus stream, muss ich leider den Stream auch beenden. Aber ich mache einen neuen Stream mit Superliminal. Das sollte ein ziemlich geiles Spiel sein, über das ich absolut gar nichts weiß. Ne? Also,
Bis in so 2, 3, 4 Minütchen.